Hello and welcome to Trial TV Live. I am the Squeegee of Justice. Thank you so much for joining us today as we are turning our attention to the trial out of Wisconsin, Tremaine Jones. Tremaine Jones' sentencing is happening today in about a half an hour. I got a brand new car. Well, not brand new, but I have a new car. So I went to the dealer today and I drove home with the car. So I'm very, very excited and very happy. So happy Friday, everybody. Pizza Friday, and get settled in, get comfortable, and let's get started. All right, I just realized that I didn't have time. I literally just got home and didn't have time to get music for you, so sorry about that. Oh, I also wanted, this is out of left field. Check this out. All right. So this individual, let me make sure I cover this. This individual sent this to us, which I thought was very interesting. So you guys will remember this, but this individual sent this to our P.O. box. Apparently, this individual thinks that we're Afro-Man, right? Because what was inside was this card. It says graduate, class of 26. And yeah, interesting. So this individual sent us... I know it seems hard sometimes, but remember one thing. Through every dark night, there's a bright day after that. So no matter how hard it gets, stick your chest out, keep your head up, and handle it. Tupac Shakur. And then it's a Cash App. and then there's a Cash App QR code. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I thought that was pretty interesting. All right, so welcome in everybody. Happy Friday, happy Pizza Friday. How is everybody doing today? Kimbers, how are you? Good vibes only. Horse Welfare, Elaine, Golden Dog Lover, Jane Dixon, good morning, good morning. There's no Alaska trial, they're off today. Radioactive, good to see you. Camilla, welcome in. Dreama, good to see you. Green Eyed Cat. Iowa Backyard, hello. Let's see. Barry Adams, there you are. Hi, everyone. This is going to be a tough one, but we're here for each other. These things are important. Yes, they are. Joy Ashley, hello. Good to see you. Richard in the kitchen, good afternoon to you. Elaine, great to see you. Auntie Ray, how are you? I'm glad you're going to stay up. I know it's the extra time. Extra time in the UK. JPC, welcome in. Glee Roll, how are you? Missy Russell, welcome in. Kitty's playing. Anthony, good to see you as well. Great Gams, hello, hello. All right, let me just make sure I got everybody. I think I see everybody. Iowa Backyard Cam, hello. Kathy Davis, good to see you. Thank you, Iowa. Congratulations. It's a 2017. I ended up getting a 2017. Woods, how are you? I got a 2017 Nissan. I've had VWs my whole life, so I walked out with a Nissan. But I'm going to go back to a VW in a couple years. I'm going to end up with a VW in a couple years. That'll be my last car as well. Nether Three Paws, how are you? Good to see you. Hector's mom, great to see you. Jeff, Cat's Gallery, welcome in. Kathleen, great to see you. Bama Green Eyes. All right. Black. It's black. It's 2017 Nissan Maxima, and it's all black, and it's a sweet ride. It's a sweet ride. So I'm really excited about it. Elroth, how are you? Polly is doing great. She was playing. She's eating. Polly's like nothing happened. I'm going to take her to the the Chinese herbalist vet, the Eastern medicine vet, on the 27th. So I'm going to take her down there. Yeah, she's doing great. Thank you for asking. She's doing really good. Polly's doing really good. All right, before this starts, I want to get us over. I want to review everything that happened. So Tremaine Jones, he was on trial. He's found guilty. Remember, his girlfriend was fussing with his ex-girlfriend, and he brings AR to the fray, and he ends up shooting both Kendall and Christopher. And Kendall unfortunately passed away. Christopher survived. So I have a few. Clips here I want to show before we get, just to kind of refresh our memory of what happened, including his verdict, because we covered it. It was March 31st to April 3rd. So let's watch a couple news clips just from the beginning and to his verdict, and then we'll hopefully get us ready for sentencing.
We continue to follow breaking news this afternoon.
Another 3 pause. Yeah, we covered it. March 31st is when it started, and the verdict was 4 days. Verdict came in 2 hours and 44 minutes. So 4 days. It was quick. It was a quick trial. All right. All right. So here's a little refresher.
2 Milwaukee police officers shot on Thursday night. It happened near 24th and Garfield. Officials say one officer remains in critical condition and the other is expected to be okay. A suspect is now taken into custody. Let's bring in our northern Milwaukee County reporter, Gideon Verdeen. And Gideon, you have been speaking with people who live in that area all morning and all afternoon. So what are people who live there telling you this afternoon?
That's right, Adriana. I'm standing here at the heart of the investigation here on Milwaukee's north side, a neighborhood shaken up after shots fired last night. 2 Milwaukee police officers were shot, and what officers say they were responding to a shots fired call. Now, neighbors in this community tell me they're fearful and uncertain. Police say the shooting happened shortly after 9 p.m. What you're looking at now is videos of investigators combing through the backyard. They appeared to find a large caliber bullet casing. The shooting happened near 24th Place in Garfield. The call came in as a report of a person with a weapon and quickly escalated to shots fired. As officers moved through the alley, they were met with gunfire and both officers were struck. Police are calling it a targeted ambush. I spoke with neighbors in the neighborhood who heard the gunshots.
As soon as we got in the house, it was shots. We had to get all of the kids down. It was like a big pop, like a wow. And then when I got the kids down, it was a bow, 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 boom.
Pissed off. My sister's a retired police officer, so I have a high esteem for police officers. So pissed off.
Now, MPD says they have 1 suspect in custody, but the investigation is ongoing. We saw investigators out here all day combing this backyard as well as neighboring houses. Crime Stoppers is urging anyone with information to come forward. This neighborhood is rattled, but we will be here continuing to provide you with information in our upcoming reports. Gideon Verdeen, TMJ4 News.
Yeah, Gideon, and thank you for providing that perspective of those who live in the area, saying they're shocked and rattled by this shooting. And shortly after the officers were shot, the Milwaukee Police Association voiced its frustration, releasing a statement that said, in part, quote, "This senseless act of violence has struck the very heart of our department and our community. We have reached a breaking point. Violence in our city is out of control, and those who protect our neighborhoods are increasingly in the crosshairs." And the president of the Police Association, Alex Ayala, had this to say early this morning.
Enough is enough. Stop trying to kill my police officers. The violence against our police officers is out of hand. It's 4 officers in 5 months. It's ridiculous.
And so here are those other instances he mentioned. In February, an officer was injured in a shooting near 27th and Wisconsin. It happened when police tried to stop a man who was carrying a rifle and firing shots into the air. The suspect was killed and the officer recovered from their injuries. And earlier this month, an MPD officer was injured in a shootout near Hampton Avenue. And that brings us to today, where 2 more officers were shot and hurt while in the line of duty. So let's bring in our Susan Kim now, and she is at the Milwaukee Police Association headquarters. And Susan, there is a way for people to help these officers and their families.
Adriana, thank you very much. I am live at the Milwaukee Police Association headquarters here on West Blue Mound Road. Yes, then a fund has been created to help those 2 officers who were injured just last night. As we learn more about their conditions today, you can scan that QR code that you see on your screen right now, and the funds that you donate will go to the families of those 2 officers and the officers as they work towards recovering from this tragedy where they were injured while just trying to do their jobs. And the president of the Milwaukee Police Association, Alex Ayala, joins me live again to talk more about the officers today. And Alex, I know you've had a chance to talk to family members. How are the 2 officers doing today?
The one officer obviously is still critical. Like I said before, the next 24 hours are going to be crucial for his health. And obviously we're all praying for him. You know, we're wrapping our arms around our Blue family. You know, everybody's hurting. The other officer, was able to speak to him and saw him last night. I saw his family. I was able to, you know, have a conversation with them and say hi. And, you know, that officer seemed to be in good spirits, but it's still, you know, long road to recovery. He's injured, and this is going to be towing on them and their families.
Yeah, you say when the other officer seemed to be in good spirits, but this is very difficult for the officer. We talk about less injured or less, you know, critical, but still very difficult.
They're both major injuries. I mean, none of this, you know, don't let anything fool you. They're major injuries, and they're both, you know, both physically and mentally, you know, hurt, and they're wounded. So there's going to be a long road to recovery for both of them and their families. I mean, but I just want to let them know that they're not alone. We, you know, they have us, and they have everybody at the police department that will support them along their journey.
You said you were able to talk to the one officer who was less injured than the other. What did he share with you just about how he's coping right now?
It was very brief. You know, obviously I just make sure that he was okay and if he needed anything. And then obviously the investigation still has to continue. So we didn't get into any specifics, but you know, his body language showed me that he's you know, obviously doing okay. Like I said, I spoke to him briefly, but that's about it.
Yeah. What else have you been able to learn about the investigation? What led the officers to that location where they were shot?
I've heard that it was a subject with a gun call. Somebody had a gun, and maybe it would have been domestic violence related. And District 3, maybe they had a lot of calls for service, and obviously everybody's short-staffed as it is. So District 2 officers got pulled to go into District 3 to take that assignment, and then this happened. So the critical staffing shortage at the police department is very real. You know, 3 officers in the last 2 weeks have been shot. This is the 4th officer now in the last 5 months, dating back to February just for this year. I mean, this is insanity. This is ridiculous.
I know your comment was so powerful. Stop trying to kill my officers. We just shared that with our viewers there. Just the anger that you must feel with so many officers being injured.
You cannot imagine the anger that I have inside. You know, last night my emotions came out, and it's the truth. I mean, stop trying to kill my police officers. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. We need more staffing, we need more tools, we need more equipment to stop all this from happening.
Okay. Alex Ayala, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, the QR code that you see on your screen, the money raised from the QR code that you scan right now with your phone, if you're able, the money raised will go to the families of the 2 officers who were injured in the line of duty last night. Adriana, I'm live here at Milwaukee Police Association headquarters. I'll be here all day. I'm going to send it back to you for now.
Yeah, and we are thinking of those officers and their families at this time. Thank you, Susan. And if you miss that QR code, there's also a link on our website at tmj4.com.
All right, so that's the initial reporting. Now we're going to go. So Kendall Corder unfortunately lost his life, but Christopher McCray survived. He actually testifies. So we're going to not watch his testimony, but I do want to show an interview that he gave.
2 officers.
he gave an interview. So let's watch his, and then we'll get to the verdict, and then a quick news clip, which hopefully will get us to the bottom of the hour, and that's when the sentencing is scheduled to start. All right, so this is Christopher McCray. He is the officer that survived. And remember, they were from another district. They were short-staffed, so they were being pulled in from another district. And remember, they were walking through the neighborhood, and they showed the body cam. I mean, it was a pretty intense moment. And this is coming right after Kelsey Fitzsimmons. If you guys remember, we got taken down for 24 hours because of Kelsey Fitzsimmons. The state was like waving a firearm around, racking it, doing all kinds of things. YouTube took us down. And then we did Cole Goldberg, which was he was pretty rich kid. And then his girlfriend, she jumped off the boat, and she was like, she's like a model and all this stuff. So you remember that one that was down in, I think, Boca. And then we came back to Tremaine Jones, where he's like waving his AR around. So I was like, gulp. So I'm pretty sure we're not going to get in trouble today. I don't think there's any too bad of firearms being shown. So anyway, I'll have to get some cats. Let me get some cats just in case. Let me just get some cats just in case. All right, sorry. Let me get some cats just in case something happens, and I gotta pull up Super Ball to help us. All right.
One routine call, shots fired on the city's north side. 4 months later, only one of them is here to tell that story.
And tonight we hear from Christopher McCray for the first time. He sat down with our Shannon Sims. And Shannon joins us live now with more on how her conversation went with Officer McCray. Shannon.
You know, Susan and Steve, I have two words: survival and gratitude. That's what comes to mind when I think about the conversation I had with this young officer who came close to death. Even though he survived that ambush that took his partner's life, he recognizes how easily things could have gone differently.
We just want to go home at the end of the day. That's literally it.
For Officer Christopher McCray, those words aren't just a thought anymore. They're a promise he almost couldn't keep the night of June 26th.
You know, that night was a long night.
He and his partner, Officer Kendall Corder, were responding to a call about a subject with a gun near 25th and Garfield. Surveillance video shows the two officers walking down Garfield. Seconds later, they were ambushed.
Dispatching at 6 and at 8, we have two officers down.
Both men were shot. Officer McCray took a bullet to his calf, his foot, and another grazed his neck, barely missing his spine. He was taken to the hospital and released days later. His partner was shot 3 times. Officer Corder died at the hospital the day after Officer McCray went home. For Officer McCray, it was more than losing his partner.
Even when I had those moments where I'm thinking about the night or thinking about Kendall, I know he's watching over me, and I know he wouldn't want me to be sad and, mopey. I know, I hear his voice all the time, like, bro, just do it.
Did you guys go through academy together?
Yeah, we did, but we really got close at District 2.
A bond he describes as family, a tribute to his brother in blue forever inked on his wrist and hand.
I went and got Quarters, badge numbers, initials. I got Garfield, Angry. It's probably one of my favorite ones.
In the days and weeks that followed, Officer McCray recalls how the community responded, overwhelmingly.
Just seeing all the cards, all the donations that people left out for us at District 2, knowing that we were going through something big at the time. So that was big.
But on those days when it feels heavy, what is it that gets you through?
Got a lot to live for. A lot of things could have went, and things did go south, but it could have even went more south for me. But I'm here, got to keep pushing,
Who has been your rock during the situation? Who would you say?
Definitely my wife and my mom. Definitely those two. Like my wife, she keeps me busy.
When Officer McCray joined the Milwaukee Police Department, he wanted to make a difference. It's in those moments, he says, the job is rewarding.
When people are at their lowest and you're actually able to talk to them and help them get out that situation that they're in or give them words of encouragement.
He realizes the healing process is a journey, but he's looking forward to making a full recovery.
You look forward to getting back on the force?
Yeah, for sure.
What a strong young man and a beautiful smile. He talks about getting back on the police force. Did he share what that timeline could look like?
Okay, let's be real. Physically,
Yeah.
he's walking now, but he's still going through rehabilitation. Then there's that mental aspect, right?
Mm-hmm.
When are you mentally ready to get back on the force? And that is up to him. So that timeline, again, is in his hands.
Yeah.
But I wanted to speak with a mental wellness expert to get a little bit more insight. So I talked with Dr. Leah Knox to gain more insight on how to support those like Officer McCray and their caregivers. That interview is inside this story right now on TMJ4.com.
Thanks for sharing that, Shannon.
All right, so that's Mr. McCray, Christopher's story. And now let's go to the verdict. So that was in 2025. That was October of 2025, that last one. This happened in June of 2025. And now we're going to get to Tremaine's verdict.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Who was my foreperson? All right, and you signed 4 verdict forms, correct? Correct. Thank you very much. All right, I'll read those verdicts into the record. Verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant, Tremaine Jones, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information. If you find the defendant guilty, you must also answer this question. Did the defendant commit the crime of first-degree intentional homicide while using a dangerous weapon? Marked yes, dated in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this 3rd day of April 2026, signed by the foreperson. As to count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Tremaine Jones, guilty of attempted first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 2 of the information. If you find the defendant guilty, you must also answer this question. Did the defendant commit the crime of attempted first-degree intentional homicide while using a dangerous weapon? Answered yes. Dated at Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this 3rd day of April 2026. As to count 3, we, the jury, find the defendant, Tremaine Jones, guilty of first-degree recklessly endangering safety as charged in count 3 of the information. If you find the defendant guilty, you must also answer this question. Did the defendant commit the crime of first-degree recklessly endangering safety while using a dangerous weapon? Marked yes. Dated at Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this 3rd day of April 2026, signed by the foreperson. And as to count 4, we, the jury, find the defendant, Tremaine Jones, guilty of possession of a short-barreled rifle as charged in count 4 of the information, dated in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this 3rd day of April 2026, signed by the foreperson. I'm now going to poll the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, that is where I simply ask you if these are and were your verdicts. Using your original juror numbers, juror number 1, Angela E., are these and were these your verdicts? Juror number 5, Philip G., are these and were these your verdicts? Yes. Juror number 6, Tiffany H., are these and were these your verdicts? Juror number 7, Jake O., are these and were these your verdicts? Juror number 15 was our first alternate. Juror number 17 was our second alternate. Juror number 18, Allison S., are these and were these your verdicts? Juror number 19, Charlie W., are these and were these your verdicts? Yes. Juror number 22, Noah P., are these and were these your verdicts? Yes. Juror 23, Stacy G., are these and were these your verdicts? Yes. Juror 24, James R., are these and were these your verdicts? Yes. Juror number 31, Richard S., are these and were these your verdicts? Yes. And juror number 34, John F., are these and were these your verdicts? Yes. And juror 35, Austin G., are these and were these your verdicts? All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I appreciate your time and attention. I'm going to send you back to the jury room, and I'm going to come back and talk to you for a few minutes before you'll be free to go, okay? I appreciate your time and efforts on this case. Thank you so much.
All right, so that was the verdict, and then we'll just lastly play a clip from just a few hours ago talking about today as the sentencing. Today.
Sentencing for Tremaine Jones, the man convicted of killing Milwaukee police officer Kendall Corder and shooting his partner Christopher McCray. The officers were responding to reports of gunfire near 24th and Garfield about a year ago when police say they were ambushed by Jones. Corder later died. McCray survived. In April, a jury found Jones guilty of first-degree intentional homicide. Corder and McCray's colleagues were in court as the verdict was read.
It's important for us to know that justice was served, that Kendall got justice, but also McCray, because McCray was the other charge, the attempted homicide charge. That's for McCray, and he's still working. So it is very important for us to be here and support our members to let them know that we're here, for them.
Jones faces a mandatory life sentence. His sentencing is set for 1:30 this afternoon.
All right, so there you go. Hey, Sherry, how are you? Thank you for dropping in. Dropping in to give support. Have a lot going on today, but wanted to say hello. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Dina, good to see you. All right. Hey, rock and roll, how are you? Great to see you today. All right. Now we look for a feed. Now the fun comes. Now we look for a feed. So I have full confidence that we will get a feed today. Somebody will cover it. Let's see. I'm going to go to... All right, so now we hunt the tubes of view looking for a feed.
That Jason Calvi was on his way to with We Energies to talk a little bit more about that progress of restoring power. I mean, we watched the numbers get pretty high last night, even this morning, as these storms kind of ripped through Kenosha and Racine counties. Obviously, a lot of us saw at least the rain, the lightning, the thunder from the storm yesterday. Thankfully, not all of us have the widespread damage that unfortunately those two areas really do. And it was some complex damage. Stephanie Quirk was out and about. Jason Calvi was just driving around, and you can see it's down power line, down power line, down power line. And that's why there are so many outages and so many people
Comcast is going to crap out in a second. 0 KPS.
A lot of progress made in Racine County. Still a lot more to go in Kenosha County. On Wake Up, We Energy's kind of a expert and employee there. He was explaining that it's a really complex issue in one area where they're going to have to go and almost rebuild the system. So I'm sure they're going to provide an update on that at that press conference. The other thing we're waiting on to begin is the sentencing again of Tremaine Jones, who was found guilty of shooting and killing Officer Kendall Corder last June, a Milwaukee police officer, as well as shooting and seriously hurting another Milwaukee police officer.
All right, so it sounds like we've got a feed here.
With those guilty verdicts that a jury handed down earlier this year, it is a mandatory life sentence for Tremaine Jones, but we still are going to bring you that official sentencing once that kicks off. Both those events scheduled for 1:30.
So we know we have a feed. We'll go here. We'll stay here. And of course, Comcast decided to say, yeah, we're gonna mess with you. Of course. All right. Yikes. Sorry about that, guys. That came out of nowhere. Apologies for that. All right. So it looks like we got a feed there. Crazy Mary Fitz parachuting in from the tax assessor's office. Thank you for joining us, Crazy Mary. Okay, that's what I'm waiting for. There we go. Okay, now I can do this. We'll do that. In the meantime, we can watch a lovely day in Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. All right. Another 3 pause. You just turned up your headset? Oh, what, you couldn't hear? Was there something you couldn't hear? You were unable to hear? What are they doing? Are they killing each other over there? Our cats are having fun. All right, so Friday here, it's June 12th, 2026. We are waiting for the sentencing of Tremaine Jones to kick in. As we just heard, they are going to be covering it here. Huh? You're ahead of me? Oh, am I caught? I think I'm live. I'm as live as I can be.
Brewers are doing as they get ready again for the series against the Phillies. Then after that, it will be the Cleveland Guardians that they're hosting here at American Family Field. So we do have, again, tonight the Phillies, and it is that community night. It's Pride Night, so they're going to be celebrating that. And then tomorrow is an exciting game. That is the bobblehead gate giveaway. So the first 25,000 ticketed fans are going to receive a William Contreras trading card bobblehead. In the bobblehead, we don't have a photo of it.
All right. Kaylee, did I find a car you like? The first car that I test drove, I took. It's a Nissan Maxima, 2017, black, 4-door. Really happy with it. Rock and roll. How are the kitties? They're doing great. Yeah, they're doing great. Paulie's doing great. Everybody's doing really good. Go Cavs? Kimbers? Go G's, you mean? Go Guardians. I think you meant go Guardians. Cavs are done playing until next year. Or next season, I should say. No, I think it was, I think she said it was where Milwaukee plays, wherever the Brewers play. Hey, Pamela, good afternoon to you. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's 2017 and it's time. My rabbit was on its last legs. I mean, I'm not going to tell you everything that was wrong with it because you guys will like scream at me. It was on its last legs. It was. I desperately needed another car. Especially because, drum roll, Shanna Gardner's coming up. Yeah. So Shanna Gardner's coming up, and yours truly will be there. So I needed a car that could handle those miles. Kimbers, yes. What was I typing? Who knows? It's okay, Kimbers. We forgive you. Another 3 pause. Your first car was a Nissan, a 1985 Stanza. I've only had VWs. I was born in the backseat of one. First car I drove was a Beetle. Then I had my Rabbit. Aaron's had Jettas. How many generations of Jettas? 2, 3, 4? Wow. So Aaron's had 4 generations of Jettas. So we love Volkswagens. We're big fans of VWs. So for me to go strange, to go outside the VW was weird. I got it from the VW dealership, but it was weird. But yeah, I mean, once I pay it off, I'm probably gonna go back to a VW at some point, maybe in like 3 or 4 years. Sassy fan. The rabbit stopped hopping. Yes, it did, Hellrider. The rabbit stopped hopping. Great Gams. Your car is a Batmobile. Sassy, you're from Ohio. It's been a while. Yes. Prayers to those affected by this tornado. Yeah, Kenosha. It's in Kenosha County. If you guys know Kenosha, right? This is in Kenosha. So, if anybody knows anybody in Kenosha, you do. Who do you know? Who's in Kenosha? Oh, Christopher B. Oh, okay. Aaron knows somebody in Kenosha. Thank you, Pamela. American Family Field. That's where the Brewers. Yeah, I think that's what they were showing. That's what they were showing. Kathy says, I think Wisconsin got worse damage than you did in Illinois. All right. Tore up the north end pretty bad. Well, where he's driving, there's no damage. So I guess maybe he's getting to where the damage is. And if you guys are just joining us, we're just waiting for the Tremaine Jones to kick in. Okay, here they're coming up. All right, here we go. Oh, quick break though.
More about Tremaine Jones, who's being sentenced today, and our reporter Durante Matthews providing a little bit of context so far. He says they are in court for the sentencing. It has not started yet. People are still making their way into the courtroom. Durante tells us the entire left side of the room is filled with police officers. We're also told that Chief Norman is in attendance, that he is inside that courtroom. We also know that some of the loved ones of Kendall Corder are in the courtroom, as well as his grandmother. And again, we know the media is there. That was the prosecutor there as well. So a lot of these people making their way in for this hearing where Tremaine Jones will be sentenced. If you are just joining us and you need a little refresher on this case, this is Tremaine Jones. He was found guilty earlier this year of shooting and killing a police officer and shooting and seriously hurting another police officer. And this is Kendall Corder. This is the police officer who lost his life in this shooting. And his partner, Officer Christopher McCray, was the other officer also shot at and hurt. So again, just a little bit of background here on Tremaine Jones. This happened last June. Essentially what happened was two women were kind of fighting over a man. Allegations of him cheating was kind of, this is a man, not Tremaine Jones, was kind of at the center of this. So they each called another man to come and kind of fight for them, Tremaine Jones being one of them. That led to shots being fired in this neighborhood, which led to other people calling 911, reporting, hey, I'm hearing shots near my home. Can someone please come check this out? This doesn't seem very safe. That's what led ultimately to Kendall Corder and Christopher McCray, those two officers, being called and dispatched to the scene. And when they got there, they were ambushed by Tremaine Jones, who prosecutors said was hiding in the bush and fired 16 shots at them. Both of them struck. Again, Kendall Corder fatally struck here. And we have since covered this case the night of with the breaking news and every update along the way, including Kendall Corder's funeral. Certainly a situation that left so many people heartbroken, from his family, his friends, the law enforcement community, to Milwaukee. So many people devastated to learn of the loss of life here. And we did also bring you Tremaine Jones' trial. Gavel to gavel earlier this year, every single witness taking the stand. It was a witness or a trial with powerful witness testimony, including Officer Christopher McCray, the other officer on scene that night, who was also shot at by Tremaine Jones, and body camera footage that showed, Kendall Corder's final moments alive. It was not easy testimony and evidence by any means to have to watch, and the jury having to sit through it all ultimately did decide and find Tremaine Jones here to be guilty in all of the counts that he did face. Ultimately, I think another key piece of evidence was actually a phone call Tremaine Jones made to his mom during being in jail. So again, we've had a lot of updates here from this trial, and we're going to continue to bring you the sentencing today. Again, people are entering the courtroom right now. We know Judge Michelle Havas has also walked in. So some of the key players here, we do anticipate this starting pretty soon. Russell Jones in for the defense, and again, the assistant district attorney who was the main prosecutor in the trial a couple of months ago, Grant Huebner, also in for the state. He's the one sitting there with his laptop open. So still waiting for this to begin. I want to remind you there is a mandatory life sentence to be handed down due to the different counts that Tremaine Jones was found guilty on. And once this does start, we're going to bring it to you right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. For now, we're going to take another quick break. We'll monitor this and we'll bring it to you as soon as this begins. Stay with us.
All right, so we are on the right channel, and we wait, and they will be right back. So, in the meantime, we'll watch some beautiful scenery from Wisconsin. Looks like a very nice day there. What's the temperature there, guys? For those that are in Wisconsin, what's the temp? Crystal, this is going to be difficult to witness, but at least justice served. Corder's sister is going to bring the power. Yeah, the impact statements are going to be pretty bad. Bad in the sense of powerful and sad, and yeah, it's going to be sad. No question about it. I mean, any victim impact statements are pretty sad. So, Aaron's noted that the temperature is right there. Here I am saying, what's the temperature? And it says right there, 75. A nice 75 degrees. That looks good. Clear blue skies, 75. I'll take that. Take that any day. Yeah, I know, Kimbers. Aaron just pointed that out. Like, dirt. What's the temperature? Well, Chris, if you just open up your eyes. Oh, there's Lambeau. There's Lambeau, right? That's Green Bay's insignia. Richard, you were asking? That was Lambeau right there. I'm guessing it has to be, right? Yeah, it looks really nice up there, you guys. It's hard to believe that there was like massive storms. Kathy, I think of cheese curds looking at that. They got the greatest. Hillrider 92 in Atlanta. Yeah, hot Atlanta, right? Oh, here we go.
Live Desk, Haley Spittler here with you at 1:42 on your Friday afternoon. Again, we are waiting for two different things that we're going to try and bring you right here on the Live Desk. Number one is the sentencing hearing for Tremaine Jones. It has not begun yet, but we have seen a lot of the key people arrive at this courtroom, so we do anticipate this starting shortly. Once it does, we will make sure and bring it to you live. That would be the door that we would anticipate Tremaine Jones walking in through. So again, he's not yet in the courtroom, but the judge, the prosecutors, the defense, as well as family members and other kind of instrumental people in this case are in attendance. And once it starts, we'll bring it to you live here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Other thing we're waiting for, Jason Calvi joined us as he's trying to make his way to this We Energies press conference. He's in Kenosha County right now, where unfortunately there is so much debris down that it's hard to get places. Trees are blocking roads, down power lines are blocking roads. Did want to let you know, we actually just heard from a City of Kenosha kind of spokesperson who did say that anybody within the city of Kenosha dealing with tree limbs, brush, any sort of storm-related debris that are from these last 2 nights of severe weather, you are actually encouraged to contact the Public Works Department to arrange for curbside collection. So we'll get this number on our website, but they will be beginning some curbside collection here next Monday, running all the way through Thursday. So that would be, I want to say, maybe the 15th to the 18th. So that's a very helpful resource if you are somebody dealing just with a lot of debris, and we've seen it. Jason has zoomed in from the car. Stephanie Quirk has joined us so many times throughout Wake Up where it's just been trees and down power lines and debris. Jason even just driving by that barn, there's pieces of aluminum from a roof that are just spread out throughout the various areas. So again, start collecting that now and reach out and get curbside collection if you're wondering where should I take that. I want to show you the We Energies power outages right now. Again, Jason on his way right now to get get an update for us from We Energies. And I know this looks like a huge number, and it is a huge number, especially if you're one of those 4,388 customers without power right now. We get it. That's difficult. That's tiring after more than a day of it. But these have gone down dramatically. At one point, Racine County was 5,500, which obviously down to just 148 now. Kenosha County still being the most impacted here with almost 4,000 people in the dark there. But at one point this morning, again, that was upwards of 10,000. So they're working right now to restore power.
Wow, that's a lot. Let's see. Crystal's saying highways are closed all over. Wow. And if you guys are just new coming in, we're just waiting for the feed to kick in. They're in the courtroom, but they're waiting. Judges there, and Tremaine. We're waiting for Tremaine to show up. But in the meantime, they're just going through. Wisconsin was hitting really hard yesterday, with tornadoes. So, Skrubnik, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Hurricanes are bad, Kaylee says. Tornadoes are terrifying. I agree. I mean, you kind of know. You kind of know when a tornado is coming, kind of. But a hurricane is like a slow build up. Like it takes like, you hear about it like 2 weeks, a week of, 2 days. Hurricanes are like it's like turning of a screw. It's like, it's just like a little tweak every day. It's just a little bit more of a tweak until it reaches this crescendo, and then hopefully you're okay. But a tornado is like boom. I've never been in a tornado. I've seen damage. I think I may have been in one when I was like a kid, like 4 or 5, and I kind of remember that. I've seen tornado damage where I grew up in Ohio, but I've never witnessed a tornado here in Florida. Never witnessed one in New York. What's this?
Ben Handelman live in
Oh,
some
the
of our
FIFA.
afternoon newscasts as they watch.
I know they're talking about FIFA Cup. But hurricanes, I've been in plenty of hurricanes and blizzards. I've gone through some serious blizzards as well. Growing up in Ohio and New York. New York City was shut down a couple times while I was there. So much so people were skiing up and down 5th Avenue, 2nd Avenue, Broadway. It was crazy. Yeah, I've never really been through a tornado. I don't think I ever want. And floods. I think flooding and tornadoes are probably just the worst. Gordon, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Kimber says you were watching Ryan Hall y'all last night. Yeah, we like Ryan. I also like Max Velocity. I like those two guys. Not a plug for them, but just say that we like them. Yeah, Illinois was getting hammered. It says there was a tornado in Florida that spawned off of a hurricane that looked like a Kansas tornado, not these little twisters. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. Actually, that's a very big problem for these hurricanes that come in. It's the northeast quadrant, right? That's where all the potential tornadoes spin up. And we during Irma, I don't know, Ed, if you remember Irma, that was more Fort Lauderdale. We actually had we had a couple big bushes, and Aaron and I were playing cards, hanging out, doing our hurricane thing. And all of a sudden, like, it just got really, really, really windy. And one of the bushes cracked, and it was a big bush. It cracked, and we looked at each other. We're like, whoa, and we ran into the bathroom. That's like the one and only time that I've actually truly have been afraid. We lost the fencing. We lost trees. That was a pretty bad one for us. Irma was pretty bad. Grampy, how are you? You can stay about 10 minutes. Want to say hello. Send you all love and respect. Thank you for that, Grampy. Just Stephanie, you watch Max Velocity as well. Yeah, I like them both. I mean, they both have their positive things. Yeah, no, of course, Aaron reminded me a couple Januaries ago. Oh, wait, here we go.
Or we are waiting for Tremaine Jones to be sentenced this afternoon. I know I keep reiterating this, but I also know that several of you join us kind of throughout the Wisconsin Live desk. So just to set the scene, a lot of important people already in the courtroom. So I do anticipate this starting shortly. Of course, the judge is there, the assistant district attorney is there, the defense is there, Tremaine Jones is not there. And that's what we're keeping our eye out for right now. But I do know Chief Norman is inside. Kendall Corder, who was the victim of this case, his grandmother is inside. We're told there's just actually a lot of police officers that are here today for the sentencing. And as a reminder, this is Tremaine Jones. And again, he was found guilty of shooting and killing Kendall Corder, who was a Milwaukee police officer, as well as shooting and seriously hurting another Milwaukee police officer, Christopher McCray. It stems from an event that happened actually almost a year ago now, last June, where essentially there was kind of shots being fired between Tremaine Jones and another guy in this neighborhood, and people were calling for police saying, hey, I'm in my apartment, I'm in my home, I'm hearing shots being fired, can someone come and check this out? And so they dispatched Milwaukee Police, Kendall Corder, and Officer Christopher McCray, who were former partners. They had actually since kind of moved on to different districts, but were paired together that one evening due to some staffing shortages to go and investigate. And when they arrived on scene, they were ambushed by Tremaine Jones, who fired 16 shots total, striking and killing Kendall Corder. And again, he did strike and hit as well Officer Christopher McCray. So as you can imagine, a trial like this led to some emotional testimony. We did hear from Officer McCray recounting that night and what it was like as he pleaded with Kendall to, please stay with me here after they had both been shot. It was extremely emotional body camera footage to watch, and I'm sure it very much was impactful for the jury, who ultimately did, again, return with those guilty verdicts against Tremaine Jones. A key piece of evidence was also a phone call that Tremaine Jones made to his mom once he was in jail, admitting to shooting Kendall Corder, saying, he didn't mean to, he didn't know they were police officers. So again, certainly some powerful evidence here that the jury did take into consideration and ultimately did find Tremaine Jones guilty. So it's been, almost a year now of this story that we've covered since we first found out about shots being fired. We had breaking news crews on scene that evening into the early morning hours. We covered it continuously the next day and the next several days and weeks, and covered Kendall Corder's funeral. And of course, we covered Tremaine Jones's trial earlier this year, gavel to gavel. Every single witness that took to the stand, we brought you that. The opening statements, the closing arguments, and now today we will bring you the sentencing of Tremaine Jones, which we are waiting to begin here shortly. It was slated to start at 1:30. Obviously, there are a lot of people they want to make sure are in attendance here, and we are waiting for Tremaine Jones to still arrive and for this sentence to be handed down. And a reminder, due to the guilty verdicts and the different charges here, it is a mandatory life sentence, but we will hear ultimately from the judge and what she has decided, and usually some strong words will be handed down in a case like this from a judge. So we will be bringing this to you live in its entirety once it does begin. In the meantime, since it hasn't started just yet, we'll take another quick break. We're keeping our eye on this feed, and we'll bring you there as soon as it does begin. Thanks for being with us. We'll be right back in 2 minutes.
All right. So there's the Brewers. That's where the Brewers play. Cats Gallery. Yeah, you have 2 deputy sheriffs in your immediate family. Literally every day. I mean, Richard, you can talk about that, but I mean, literally every day. I mean, you have a target on your back. There's no question about it. Your back, your front, your side. There's no question about it. So it seems like looks like Tremaine is not there yet. I'm not sure where he is. They're not really saying where he is, but judge is there. State is there. I'm not sure if she said was the defense there. I'm not sure if the defense was there or not. Yep. No, Give you credit, my friend. I definitely give you credit. Shannon, prayers for all of you going through weather damages. So sorry to hear about all of that. Son got an attaboy from a local deputy. Bama says, most of the men in my family are in different areas of law enforcement. I am always worried about them. Your nephew is a marshal. Oh, cousins, state troopers. Cousins are state troopers, yeah. Yeah, Ed and I were just kind of talking back and forth in chat. If you guys saw, it's like even just walking up to a routine traffic stop, if the windows are tinted, I mean, you just never know. You just never know who's going to have a weapon, you know. They're coming back.
Everybody, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Haley Spittler here with you at 1:55. Delaney's laughing at me because I was just noticing that I shed a little bit on my dress there. I was trying to clean it up for you on a Friday afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us. I'll be with you just for a couple more minutes. Then Maddie Stelk going to take over here and get you all the way to 2. Taking a quick live look outside here at American Family Field. Again, a much different story than it was yesterday where we had severe weather. We're also continuing to wait here for Tremaine Jones' sentencing to begin. We have seen a lot of movement in the last couple of minutes inside the courtroom, so I do anticipate this starting shortly, including the judge kind of putting her robe on. So again, monitoring this as soon as it starts, we'll bring it to you live right here on the live desk. In the meantime, I actually want to let you know about a little bit of breaking news that we are monitoring right now in our newsroom, and we are working to learn more. But as you can see, there is crime scene tape up right now, and there is a police presence. This is near 84th and Mill in Milwaukee. We have a couple of photos here where you can see more crime scene tape seemingly potentially around an apartment building there. It does look to have a little bit of a crowd outside the police tape there. And again, we do have paramedics, firefighters on scene as well as the police response that we saw in this first photo. So that is all we know so far. Jason Calvi has been redirected. I know he was on his way to attempt to get you that We Energies press conference. We'll still work to get you any and all updates, but instead we're now sending him here to Milwaukee to see what he can learn on this breaking news situation where you can see a police presence again near 84th and Mill in Milwaukee, and certainly kind of a decent amount of crime scene tape in a pretty big area that has been roped off and marked off.
Hey, Sneaker Dread, that's a great question. We have seen that before. We saw, what was the one? Was it Dima? Oh, here he comes. Yeah, we've seen that before where they don't show up. We have seen that before.
Want to get us back inside the courtroom. That is Tremaine Jones, who has now entered, obviously in his jail garb as well, being handcuffed. He is about to be sentenced in this courtroom. These proceedings going to start momentarily now that the defendant is in court. Again, Tremaine Jones found guilty earlier this year, shooting and killing a Milwaukee police officer, Kendall Corder, as well as shooting and hurting another Milwaukee police officer, Christopher McCray. As you can see, a lot of people in this courtroom. We anticipate these proceedings starting very soon. We know a lot of law enforcement. We know Chief Norman in the courtroom, and we also know Kendall Corder. Again, that is the victim of this case, the police officer who was killed, his grandmother in attendance. Let's go ahead and listen in as the judge has started.
We're ready, Judge.
All right. I did go on the record with the parties a little bit earlier after talking with them. You had some concerns about coming to court today for this sentencing. I issued an order, but my deputies said you walked up here, and I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you're here. We are here for sentencing. Obviously, this case was tried beginning March 30th and resulted in guilty verdicts on all 4 charges that were put to the jury. A pre-sentence investigation was prepared. It was filed as of June 4th. Has the state had an opportunity to review that?
Yes.
Do you have any corrections, deletions, additions, anything?
No.
All right. And on Mr. Jones, on behalf of your client, have you had an opportunity to not only review that yourself, but go over it with Mr. Jones?
I did, Your Honor. I was also able to send a copy to Mr. Jones at the jail.
Okay, good. All right. Any additions, deletions, corrections, anything?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. So I did receive a number of different filings that came in, victim impact statements, letters, things of that sort. I have reviewed those. I understand, Mr. Jones, that you had some question about some paperwork in the jail that you wish to show me. Yes, Mr. Jones, I can see you gesturing.
Right, I might be able to answer it. I have a document here written out by Mr. Tremaine Jones. Right, he recently wrote this out. He thinks it might duplicate that, so I will be sharing that with the court at the appropriate time.
Okay, good. I was going to tell you whatever paperwork it was, you could reference it and talk to me about it. Even if you didn't have a physical copy for me, that wouldn't make a difference to me. You could certainly feel free to talk about it when you do your statement. So, all right, with that, I do believe we are ready to go. I appreciate, we have a very full gallery. I appreciate everybody being here today. Of course, we all have to follow courtroom decorum. I appreciate that everybody will do so. This is obviously a very emotional situation, but I just wanted to remind everyone of that. Thank you so much. Mr. Huebner, on behalf of the state, you may go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. To begin with, the state has notified the victims regarding this case. There are numerous victims. Obviously, we've notified the deceased family, the surviving officer, and the victims. As the court can see, there are a number of people here on behalf of the victim. There is not a restitution request, so restitution can be set at zero. And I would ask that the court find that we have complied with victim rights legislation.
I will find that you have done so.
Thank you. Your Honor, before I begin with my arguments, there are 3 people that would like to speak on behalf of the victim's family. And before that, I would also note that we have filed 2 victim impact statements, one on behalf of District 2 and one on behalf of Officer McCray. The court did see those.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing, the things that I've reviewed. Yes.
Then with that, Your Honor, the state would like, with the court's permission, to allow 3 people to speak on behalf of the victim.
Absolutely.
First would be Rosalind Corder, the grandmother of the victim.
All right, come on in, ma'am. Hi, ma'am. If you could go ahead and state and spell your name for the record, and then you may make your statement.
Rosalind, R-O-Z-L-Y-N-E, Corder, C-O-R-D-E-R.
All right, Ms. Corder, what did you want to tell me?
Nothing I say here today will change the fact that Kendall was taken from us through an immature and senseless act. I can share what his hope for you would be. He would pray, so will I, that you will give your life to Jesus Christ. Jesus forgave us, and I forgive you. As far as your sentencing, you chose to take a life. There are consequences for every decision we make. Proverbs 28:17 states, "A man that doeth violence to the blood of any person shall flee to the pit. Let no man stay him." Therefore, I ask the court for the maximum sentence. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming in and making a statement, and I'm so sorry for your loss.
Next is Rayanna Corder, the sister of the victim.
Hi.
Hello, Your Honor.
Can you spell your first name for us?
Yes, ma'am. First name is spelled R-A-Y-A-N-N-A.
What did you want to tell me?
Hi, I just want to thank you for having me. First of all, I was wondering what the first thing I would say to such a coward. And the first thing I want to say to you is that you killed a government official. And one thing about killing a government official, everybody knows, no matter where you come from, that is a very bad thing for you, the consequences. Because everybody play tough. And all the rappers say you to do this. But what they forget is that you sit in the courtroom alone. And everybody that helped you get to this point is not sitting at the table in an orange suit. It is only you. I will proceed now. First, I made you some new nicknames. The first one would be your classic.
Ma'am, I appreciate what you're doing, but you need to direct your comments to me.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand you're looking at me, but they're not coming for me. I understand.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Okay. About Kendall, he was a wonderful kid, and he was always tactical, and he always wanted to make a difference in this world. And he did. He saved kids those days because, Your Honor, he was willing to shoot that building up with those babies in there and empty every single last clip that he had in that gun on those children with senseless and recklessness of his thinking. For my dad, you have done him a great deal of hurt. And I want the courts to know that you have hurt that man. He did not deserve that. That's a good man. And you could have recovered from any trauma that you had. But it's a decision to change your life. Even if you got to fight mentally every day, you can make better decisions no matter where you come from. So your excuses will not be accepted by me. From my son, my son said on July 26, 2025, what brought me to tears, by the way, you shot my uncle. It was devastating and heartbreaking. And that was a big loss for us, and my whole family was grieving and probably still is. And my mom cries almost every day, you are evil. And if somebody did that to one of your family members, you will feel the same way. Probably, I feel you should get 107 years for the death that you did, the deed that you did. And my sister said you should get life in prison. You did a very bad deed and you knew it was a cop. My youngest daughter said go to hell. My second daughter, you get the middle finger. This has affected me financially, $24,000, $629.25 lost. To wear those glasses in court was an insult to my face. To think that all of these experienced people would not see through that, and the regular people of the jury. I was very insulted. Your mother will always also be taking this sentence with you. How selfish you was to not think about others. You are not going down because you are a black man. You are going down because of the contents of your character. And Kendall's birthday was on Martin Luther King Day this year. One thing I want to remind you that you did not think of is when you sit in prison, people that you love die. And I hope that one of the most important people to you when they pass, that you cannot attend their funeral, and I hope it rips your heart apart. Because you forgot that. You know, one thing I think about is how all these people led you. All these people led you to troubled waters for you to drink it by yourself, and then got on a stand. The people that caused you to it got on a stand on you. How do you feel about that? Last but not least, me and Kendall used to watch the Ninja Turtles when we was little, and we loved the Ninja Turtles. And when we used to sit there and quote the the words as he would say, the last one, I never thought I'll be sitting in court like this today. But it was, you dirty rat, you killed my brother. You dirty rat. And the name was Skinner. And that was one of Kendall's favorite parts in the Ninja Turtles. And with that being said, I just want the judge to know that I came up with some calculations. I added up the quarters and I came up with, I wanted to be kind of reasonable because I would like 1,000 years. But when I added 25, enough of the quarters that Kendall deal with, I came up with 250 years. When I added the days of the days we were born for me and his nieces and nephews, I came up with 132 years. Because of Kendall being a law enforcement officer and he also injuring Officer McCray and having him go through mental and emotional damage for the rest of his life, because he's still alive, I asked that an additional 100 years be added to the 132. This is my recommendation. If I could get 629 years, I would. Do I think that will be fair? Of course, but I think I need to be reasonable. So those are the sentences I'm asking for. Either 250 years or 232 years or 102 years. At the very least, to make an example out of anybody that ever touch a law enforcement officer and kill them and injure them like Officer McCray. Kendall's birthday is 119, and at the least, I ask, please, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, at the least 119 years. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Lastly, Glenn Kirby Jr., the victim's very good friend.
Hi there.
How's it going?
If you could state and spell your name for the record.
Glenn, G-L-E, and then last name Kirby, K-I-R-B-Y, Jr.
All right, Mr. Kirby, what did you want to tell me?
Man. I wanted to let everyone know who we lost. We lost somebody from the community, the same community that he died in, where he's from, just a few blocks away from where he died, actually. I want everyone to know we lost a mentor. We lost somebody who wanted to do better in the community, see the community grow. We lost a father. I'm sorry, we lost a son to a father. We lost a brother. We lost a grandson. We lost an uncle. Kendall cared about that uniform. I remember when he put that badge on, he never took it off. He always had it under his shirt. He said, being a cop, you never off. He loved that job. He loved serving his community. The thing that's tough that I want everybody to know is just stupidity. I know you said don't talk directly to him, but I want him to know that I feel sorry for him. He killed someone and never one is hurting, but he also brought so many people together. Kendall was honored and still is honored beautifully. He touched so many people. He was a light. He brought so many people together. I want you to know that you had ample time to leave that scene before you even got to that level. You got called to a scene that you probably shouldn't even have got called to, and you still could have left. You know, they say didn't know it was a cop. But it's, what happened was happened. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not sure how many years you guys want to give him, but I will someday have to forgive you. I hope you grow while you're inside and try to learn from what you did and help others if you could. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kirby. I'm sorry for your loss.
Your Honor, the defendant was convicted of 4 counts, and when we are attempting to determine an appropriate sentence, we need to take into consideration a number of different factors. We need to take into consideration the character of the defendant, the serious nature of the crime, the need to protect the public, the need to send a message to the public and to the defendant this conduct will not be tolerated, the need to punish the defendant, and the need to rehabilitate the defendant. I have read the PSI, as we've talked about, and I do think that one thing that we should at least discuss from the PSI is it is true the defendant has no criminal convictions. The defendant did have that one 2021 operating a motor vehicle without owner's consent passenger that was a successful deferred prosecution agreement that is spelled out in the PSI. What is also in the PSI are a number of other arrests that he had. They had, I think, 2. I actually went through our referrals, and there were 4 different referrals that had been referred in, 2 for strangulation and 2 for disorderly conduct on January 20th, August 26th, November 16th of 2024, and February 13th of 2025. None of those were issued, and at least with 2 of those are spelled out in the criminal complaint. I read all of the no process notes. It was pretty much from the beginning victim cooperation in every single one of those. The August 26th, November 16th, and February 13th of 2025, the victim in all 3 of those was Deandre Jones, who the court will remember.
You just said 25. Do you mean 24?
No, February 13th, 2025.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It was Deandre Jones, who the court will remember, is at issue in this case. In fact, as a result of this, the defendant had been kind of pre-flagged as one of those serious domestic violence offenders that they believed that there were lethality factors in play. So while the defendant does not have a criminal record, there at least is a history that we have with Ms. Jones. And that history that we have here in terms of their relationship is unfortunately what led to this horrific, tragic event. We do know that there was a fight between Ms. Jones and Ms. Kittler, which ends up, one fight happens the day before this incident, and the fight happens regarding the beginning of this incident, where there is a Mr. Tyler there who is there to try to prevent women from getting jumped. He wants to keep it a fair fight. Again, and we've talked about, this was mentioned, I think, by both sides at the jury trial. The fact that this is how people are acting in a civilized society is ridiculous. That we're having fights in the middle of the street. Mr. Tyler does not fire his weapon, but the defendant learns about this. And when I read his PSI, he appears to try to blame the fact that this happened and his choices to go over there due to, I believe, the fact that he was under the influence. He was either high or intoxicated or both. And that he says that he got called over there by a girl I was talking to, and there was a guy in the house, and this sort of thing. Again, the idea that he finds out that from Ms. Kittler that a guy in this house had a gun and doesn't call 911 or tell her to call 911, that his solution to this is to grab this rifle that he has put together and bring it to this location, is the sort of conduct that is causing way too many deaths in our society. the fact that the defendant thinks that is the appropriate thing to do, to bring a gun and go there. And the court heard the 911 calls, and the court heard from the citizens that lived on that block, even before we even get to the violence that robbed this city of a dedicated public servant. We have the defendant and Ms. Kittler just kind of standing there in the middle of the street, swearing and challenging and threatening. And the defendant, when we saw in that ring video, fires off a round in the air. And I understand that the defendant in his PSI is trying to indicate that he was returning fire or something along those lines. I believe where he says he indicated that he responded by shooting his firearm up in the air, but didn't want to hurt anyone. Again, I do not find the defendant's comments regarding what occurred at all credible. I do not believe that the defendant was there just to simply try to diffuse the situation. You heard him threatening to shoot up the house. You heard that he was threatening violence. You heard he was trying to fight this other man because a man was in the apartment of a woman who had called the cops on him 3 times due to domestic violence and then did not cooperate. This is the epitome of this cycle of power and control and violence that the defendant is attempting to impose his will into a situation. And this time he didn't just make Ms. Kittler or Ms. Jones the victim. He made everyone in that apartment building the victim. He made everybody on that block the victim. And then eventually, by killing an officer, he made this entire city a victim in a way that, unfortunately, we are seeing too often. The defendant's statement to the PSI writer that he heard gunfire, blacked out, and doesn't recall anything, I do not find to be credible. The court can draw its own conclusion. The court heard that jail call. In that jail call, this defendant is describing to a T exactly what someone in that situation was describing. He is describing the manner in which they are walking so closely together. He is describing the manner in which they stand at the alley before coming forward, and then describes it as my reaction was my reaction. This isn't the only jail call in which he discusses it, and he discusses and talks about and states, as we heard, he did not know they were officers. There is conflicting information as to that comes in through this, and quite frankly, as I stated at the trial, it doesn't matter whether or not he knew that they were officers or not. I think it is painfully obvious that they were. What is painfully obvious also is that this defendant stood in that tree line with his backpack off, saw 2 people, and shot at them 16 times. And because they were wearing body camera, we know exactly what happened. And I think one of the reasons why this case is so traumatizing for people is because while we do have video, when I started, video capturing a homicide was kind of rare. One of the, I guess, improvements in our society is we have security cameras everywhere. People have phones out, there are cameras, Ring doorbells, and almost every homicide we have appears to be caught on camera now. So, as this court has, and Mr. Jones has, and myself, we have seen people die over and over again through the prosecution of these cases. What we don't often see is the point of view of the victim, because oftentimes we're seeing it from a bird-eye view or from some other portion. In this case, we literally got to see Officer Corder's last sights before he fell to the ground. And what we know from that is that after Officer Corder fell to the ground and after Officer McCray was running for safety, the defendant continued to fire. And he fired a total of 16 times. So what we have in regards to the character and the seriousness of the offense in regards to the defendant's actions that day is the defendant choosing violence on multiple occasions. I understand that the defendant stated that he had this firearm mainly for home protection, but why is he bringing this rifle to go engage in a fight with someone? One of the problems we have is so many people have guns today, that people that probably would not be engaging in disputes with other people because they don't want to get hurt or lose a fight now think they can win it because they have a bigger gun. And that just causes more escalation and more violence. And in this case, two people who were sworn to just try to protect us pay the price. The defendant chose to sit outside a house and threaten to shoot people. He chooses to fire rounds. He chooses to sit in that tree line, and he takes that gun and he pulls the trigger 16 times. At least one person had fallen to the ground. We know Officer Corder had fallen to the ground, and we know Officer McCray was running away. There was no threat. He was just shooting. And quite frankly, whether or not he thought it was Bryshawn Tyler, or whether or not he knew it was the police, or whether or not he just thought it was two random people, it is still, as far as count one, life without parole. You cannot get more intentional than what the defendant did there. In terms of the seriousness of the offense, we get that in kind of two different areas. The first area is obviously the defendant's actions and the effect that it had on that block. The next is the effect that it had on the city. Officer Tanner died in September 7th of 1996. We went 22 years before another city of Milwaukee police officer died in June 7th of 2018. During that 22-year period, Milwaukee County did lose 6 officers. There were 3 deputies, 1 TOSA police officer, and 1 special agent with DCI. 6 officers, law enforcement officers, died in the line of duty in 22 years. In the 7 years since Officer Irvine died, the Milwaukee Police Department has lost 6. We lost Officer Irvine, we lost Officer Mikulski, we lost Officer Brittner, Officer Lentz, Officer Jerving, and Officer Corder. And thank God Officer McCray was wearing his vest. The thing that strikes me from these cases, and I have handled 3 of them, is when we bring the officers in that have gone through this, Officer McCray, or specifically this will stake out to me. We watched the body cam with him. That was not easy for him. But it seemed tougher for the officers that were there to support him. Because this rips the city apart. Because we get to see exactly how Officer Corder died. And what we know about how Officer Corder died is that he died because his job was to look for a person with a gun. The defendant did not have to go to that situation. He could have called 911. He could have done any number of other things rather than take an Uber with a gun that's got 2, and again, for home invasion purposes or home protection, he decides to tape 2 magazines together like you see in a Rambo movie. This is insane. And he sits there and he shoots. Now, Officer Corder hears, and Officer...
Hi, everybody. Sam Kramer here now with you on the Wisconsin Live Desk, as we have been watching the sentencing hearing for Tremaine Jones. He was the man convicted at trial of shooting and...
All right, hold on, guys. I have another channel we can go to. Because I don't like that. Don't. Just stop with the talking head. Don't like you. Go away.
Responding to violence.
Back up a little bit.
Died because his job was to look for a person with a gun. The defendant did not have to go to that situation. He could have called 911. He could have done any number of other things rather than take an Uber with a gun that's got 2, and again, for home invasion purposes or home protection, he decides to tape 2 magazines together like you see in a Rambo movie. This is insane. And he sits there and he shoots. Now, Officer Corder hears, and Officer McCray hear a man talking something about shooting. They're there knowing shots have been fired. It's a totally different situation. They're going to protect. The defendant was going to hurt. And he hurt himself, and he hurt his family, and he destroyed Officer Corder's family, and he hurt Officer McCray, and he hurt the police department, and he hurt the city. When we consider what the police department has gone through, and it has been a lot lately. That night, the police department, as we know, was swamped, responding to violence after violence after violence. And Officer McCray and Officer Corder were going outside their district to an area that they were not familiar with from working, basically on their own, and knew that they had to do that because that's what they want to do. And I think that goes to show why this case and the seriousness of this case warrants the maximum sentence on count 1 and the maximum sentence on count 2. Life without parole and 40 years of initial confinement and 20 years of extended supervision consecutive for what he did to Officer Corder. 45. That may be academic because it is life without parole, but I think it is absolutely warranted. I also do believe that on count 3, when one considers the terror that the families and the victims on that block went through, consecutive time is appropriate. I would recommend 5 years of initial confinement and 5 years of extended supervision for that count. Regarding count 4, the short-barreled rifle, concurrent time, 1 in, 1 out. We can run it concurrent. Really, what's the most important portion of this is the violence that the defendant chose over and over again that night. I ask you to follow my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jones?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hold on. I'm going to try and, this is not my usual courtroom. I'm way shorter than Judge Corvello. I could see that side. I want to be able to see your side as well.
Understood. First of all, there's 351 days credit from the day of arrest through today's date. As the court knows, the seriousness of the crime, the need to protect the community, and the character of the defendant are the pillars of sentencing. Clearly here, the crime and the seriousness of the crime cannot be understated. That's not something that we likely can argue. The need to protect the community here is also paramount. So what's left is the character of the defendant and what to do with them. The court knows that this is a mandatory life sentence. The only question is whether or not we make Mr. Tremaine Jones eligible for extended supervision at any point in his life. That's the only question really for this court. The rest, quite frankly, is academic. And when we look at that, I try and put cases on a spectrum. I try and look at homicides on a spectrum. And I understand for the victims of a homicide, that is unsettling. I understand that that also may seem offensive because no matter what, in any homicide, when I'm representing a defendant, the deceased person is never coming back, and no sentence will make that family whole or the person whole who's been injured. It just can't be done. But that's the mechanism that we are constrained by the law. And when I look at this case, the thing that strikes me, and I think the state hit the nail on the head here, is the lack of criminal record. Now, that doesn't mean somebody that has no record can't commit an egregious crime and can't receive life without parole. Obviously, you can't. But I do think that it is instructive that there is potential for Mr. Tremaine Jones to be reevaluated in the future by a parole board or whatever constitutes the parole board in the future. The minimum that you can order is 20 years. I think somewhere in the range of 50 is probably appropriate. Mr. Tremaine Jones sits here, he's 23 years old. I think in 40 to 50 years, so that puts him at 63 to 73 years old, we should reevaluate whether or not he is worth still holding in a prison. I understand that that might be not satisfying, and life without parole might strike a better chord in terms of sending the message to the community. But I think that when we look at the human being who is Mr. Tremaine Jones sitting to my right, that person will be a vastly different human being in 40 to 50 years, Judge. And all I'm asking this court to do is to evaluate eligibility for release. As the court knows, if it sets that date, he will not be released any sooner than that. He might not get released even at that point.
But it is, I think, it behooves us as a society to look at that issue again. And I can say that I'm genuinely struck by the victim impact statement by Officer McCray and the grandmother of Officer Corder. Corder. I'm sorry. It's the French Canadian in me. And the issue is, Judge, that they have probably much bigger hearts and the ability to forgive than I would if I were in their shoes. I am struck by that. And I think that that is amazing. And I think that that type of mindset is what I'm sort of asking the court to employ here is, let's reevaluate in 50 years. Let's look at this gentleman when he's 73 years old or 72 with the credit, somewhere in that range, and say, do we still need to confine him for the balance of whatever his life might be at that point? That's what I'm asking this court to do. I have spoken to Mr. Tremaine Jones. He has asked me to read this statement to the court. He has prepared this statement, and I will conclude my remarks with his statement to the court. And I will read it verbatim. Dear Judge, I want to start this letter off by saying I sincerely apologize to you, the courts, the DA, the victims, and the victim's family. On June 26, 2025, the life of Kendall Corder was taken, and Christopher McCray was also seriously injured in the process. There is not a day that goes by without me thinking. I just wish I could go back in time and change what happened. Although that is not possible, the reality of it is that I pray each and every day that you, the families, and God could someday forgive me for my selfish actions that day. I am not a monster or a violent person. I was highly intoxicated this day, and unfortunately I let fear and anger cloud my judgment. I will not use my drug abuse as an excuse for my poor behavior and decisions. I am here today to take accountability, apologize, and pray for forgiveness someday for the grief and suffering that my actions have caused. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. As the state mentioned, whenever I sentence anyone, I need to consider three separate things: the gravity of the offense, the protection of the community, and the character of the defendant. Oftentimes, when I look at character of a defendant, you look at, have you engaged in criminal behavior? If you're 17 and you haven't, that's one thing. If you're 50 and you haven't, it means you've lived your life. You're all the way through. Well, not all the way through, but you don't have a big record. Sometimes it is a big record, even at 17. But it is not merely number or lack of criminal convictions that makes up a person's character. I think chronologically, the way that I approach this, as we had been thinking about this sentence, and of course I've been thinking about this case since it came in, I was actually out of the country when it occurred. I was not here, but received notification of it thousands and thousands of miles away, and knew that the community had been harmed. And I learned that the case was on my docket, and I was going to be presiding over the trial, if that's where it ended up. And it did. And I will say, Mr. Jones, we had no problems during your trial. I can't always say that, but I appreciate that we didn't.
defendants who act out during those trials just make it so much more difficult. And you did not do that, and I appreciate that. I was surprised when I heard today that you were not planning to come out of your cell for the sentencing. I'm glad you had a change of heart, because I think it's so important that you heard every word today. Some more difficult than others. As much as things are different between people, there are some similarities. And what I noticed is both Officer Corder's grandmother, she spoke of prayer and forgiveness. When I read Officer McCray's statement this morning, I was speechless. Without getting into all the details, he talked about his grandmother and how she would forgive you, even if he had been killed, and that she would want him to. So he has. You, in your letter, spoke of praying to God. Your approach is very different between the two sides, but apparently you're all going to the same source. I just don't know what you could have been thinking. For every step, I said I was going to go chronological. The first thing, apparently you had been put out of Ms. Jones's house because she'd found out about Ms. Kittler, whatever. Then there's a big fight. I don't understand that. But there was literally women fighting over you, physically hitting one another. The next day, we're going to just re-up this. But then you get the call that there's a man there, and apparently in street rules, men shouldn't be at girl fights or some such thing. As ridiculous as that. I mean, it's not ridiculous, but it's ridiculous that there's even a rule. So you pop over with your gun, with the taped together magazines, designed to do maximum damage. And I hear, in my mind, I can hear all the 911 callers. Now, we had the young boy who just was following it and going to post it on social media or something to try and get likes, I think he said during the trial. I'm admittedly older, but that's beyond me. But so he's following, and he's following the group and following what's going to happen. I've got my camera out. I'm going to record all this. But there's the call from the guy who's standing on his porch, almost like a Midwestern dad waiting for the storm to roll in, calling 911 saying, well, I'm watching them. I don't know how that would be a spectator sport. Get in the house. I wanted to scream while he was on the phone. Get in the house. And then there's the mom, who's so frantic, screaming at her kids to get away from the damn window. Because that's not a safe place to be. In your own house not being safe, you held that entire block hostage. All of those people, and I think there's another call that she was just like, he's back. He's here. When are you coming? That entire block could not live their lives that night. I don't know how often that the people on that block can't live their lives. But they couldn't feel free to go out. They couldn't feel free to just lay their heads down and go to sleep. Because you were holding them hostage. Walking around flexing your muscle with your big gun. There's the exchange of gunfire, and suddenly someone says the cops are coming, and everybody goes. The kid with the camera keeps following just to see what's going to happen. But holding an entire community, neighborhood in this situation, but an entire community hostage because you think you don't want another man in the house you used to live in, or he went to a girl fight and that's not right, and some code you're living by, that justifies anything. But then you go and you hide just to ambush them. You weren't hiding for your safety, because if you're hiding for your safety, you're small. If you're just going to hide in the bushes, you hide. That's not at all what you did. You had your gun out and you were ready to go. That's not hiding. It's ambushing. They came along and there's been a lot of talk about, I didn't know it was an officer. Well, so? Would it have been justified in your mind? Had it been the kid with the camera, or the guy on his porch, or the mom who came out because she didn't want her kids to get hurt? Even if it had been the guy who'd been in the apartment, would that be okay? No. I will tell you, when I read the pre-sentence investigation, I was dumbstruck that your position for this report was, I don't remember. I blacked out. Because we all listened to the phone call. It may be that you're choosing not to remember. It may be that you couldn't give me the details of that, but that's because you are going to a place in your mind where you don't have to deal with this. But the fact is, you do remember because you talked about it to your mom, trying to justify your behavior. I didn't know it was a cop. You described everything perfectly. It all lines up with the video. There can be nothing more serious than the loss of life. And I look out at the gallery. I see a lot of badges. I even see one person standing out there like this. And the reason I see that is because those vests are so damn uncomfortable. But I have deputies who work with me on a day-to-day basis. And I, of course, have officers who come in and people I get to know and all of that sort of thing. I would like them to wear turtleneck vests with long sleeves and long pants like a suit of armor. They can't, because they have to go out and work and move and be able to do stuff. But I look at my deputies and I think, that's just not enough coverage. I would like it even more. Because this gallery is going to go to work tonight or tomorrow. They're going to go out and they're going to answer the calls. They're going to answer the calls that says, "We're in danger, please come protect us." Everything I have heard about Officer Corder has been just amazing. I don't have to tell all of you who knew him what a dedicated, kind, and compassionate person he was, dedicating his life to protecting the community that he loves. Officer McCray has to live with this. Has to live with the fact that it was his friend and partner. He is described in the same way as Officer Corder, giving, caring, a dedicated public servant. They went to the danger. You, Mr. Jones, are the danger. And that is not something that can safely exist in the community. I believe you when you say you wish every day that you could go back. Of course you do. But you cannot. You ambushed them. You hunted them. And that level of dangerousness is just too high. Count 1 comes with a mandatory life sentence. The other 3 counts, the legislature requires that I consider whether probation would be appropriate. Of course it is not, but I'm saying the words for the purposes of sentencing. I considered it. I reject it. Conditions of time that you are serving will include absolutely and positively no contact with the families of Kendall Corder or with Officer Christopher McCray. You do not, according to your pre-sentence investigation, have your high school diploma. I am going to order you to work on that. I don't know if there's any reason that you would be unable to earn that. I didn't speak about, I know you weren't in any special ed classes or anything, so I think it was probably a lack of effort and lack of attendance versus any reason that you couldn't do it. So you will get your high school diploma and any educational or vocational training that you can. It will do you good. It is good to learn. It is good to grow. It will do you good. I will set restitution at 0 per the state's representations. You will have 351 days sentence credit. I'll apportion that in a moment. You will have to pay the DNA surcharge as well as any mandatory costs, fees, and assessments. I'll waive any non-mandatory. I know you're indigent. You were represented through an appointment through the public defender's office. That will be payable from your prison funds at a rate to be determined by the Department of Corrections. You are not eligible for the Challenge Incarceration Program or the Substance Abuse Program. However, those are specialty programs. I am going to order that you have a substance abuse evaluation. You talked at length in your pre-sentence report about your substance abuse issues. You indicate that you were intoxicated that night. I find not credible the blacked out comment, but you may very well have been intoxicated in some way, shape, or form, and that may be something for you to deal with. So I will encourage you, I'm going to order that you have an evaluation and comply with any treatment that is ordered. You may not have any firearms as you are now a convicted felon. You cannot vote until your civil rights are reinstated. You may never possess body armor. If you violate those no contact orders, you could face additional charges. And you do have a right to appeal my sentence, and your attorney will go through those rights with you. As to, I'm going to sentence you on counts 2, 3, and 4 before I get to 1. The state has made their recommendation in terms of what they think is appropriate for the counts 2, 3, and 4. I disagree with their recommendation. I said I was approaching this chronologically. If you had not built that illegal gun, you wouldn't have had it at your disposal. That short-barreled rifle was just illegal, period. If you had not terrorized and held hostage that neighborhood with that gun, you would not be looking at the sentences that you are. And on counts 1 and count 2, it was merely the difference of hitting the vest or not. As Officer Corder's grandmother said, for every action, there has to be a consequence. If not for count 4, then not count 3, then not count 2 and count 1. As such, I will sentence you on count 1 as required by the law to a period of life imprisonment, and I find that you are not eligible for release to extended supervision. On count 2, I sentence you to 60 years in the Wisconsin State Prison, 40 years initial confinement, 20 years extended supervision. On count 3, 17 years, 6 months in the Wisconsin State Prison, 12 years, 6 months initial confinement, 5 years extended supervision. And on count 4, 6 years in the Wisconsin State Prison, 3 years initial confinement, 3 years extended supervision. I know that it is a distinction without a difference, in this situation, but all counts will run consecutively to one another. Because if not for one, then none of the others. I wish you well, Mr. Jones. I am impressed with the family of Officer Corder and with Officer McCray and their grace. I hope that you find peace, as Officer McCray said, and make the most of your time and do in the honor of Officer Corder and in the honor of Officer McCray. You make good use of that time and strive to be a good person and dedicated servant the way they were. Good luck, sir.
I got everything signed.
All right. It's going away for a long time. So life without parole, she said it differently, but basically life without parole, 60 years, 40 years, and then 20 years supervision. 17 years for count. No, I'm sorry, count one is life without parole. Count two, 60 years, but 40 years. Well, I'm sure there's going to be a press conference.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be a press conference.
100%.
All right, we'll try and find it. All right, hold on a sec. Let me get us over here.
How strongly, how seriously the judge is taking Jones's actions.
All right, just give me a second. So it was count one, life without parole, but she said it differently. But anyway, life without parole. Hold on, let's get here. Count two, 60 years, but then 40 years incarcerated, 20 years supervision. Count three, 17 years, 5 years supervision. Count four, 6 years, 3 years supervision. All consecutive. So it basically comes to life without parole plus 63 years. So he's not going anywhere. All right, let's check this out.
But you cannot. You ambushed them. So you will get your high school diploma.
I like what you said. If not for them, then not the others. I like what you said there. All right. So I like the fact that they're doing motorcade. I just want to get. All right.
All right, hi everybody. Sam Kramer back with you here from the Wisconsin Live Desk, where Tremaine Jones we are seeing being walked out of the Milwaukee County courtroom, where he just received the maximum sentence possible on all 4 counts pertaining to the shooting death of Milwaukee police officer Kendall Corder and the shooting injury of his partner Christopher McCray. Now, you just heard Judge Michelle Havis go through her rationale. This is kind of the point in the process where the judge, after listening to everything, after hearing from just about everyone, it is time for them to make this recommendation, the sentencing decision after hearing all the recommendations. And pretty much the only positive piece that she gave Tremaine Jones was that he didn't make this trial into an obstacle that for her to navigate. We've seen in other trials, even this week, sometimes with the defendant can be so disruptive. That's not what happened here. That being said, she was absolutely stern there in her sentence. Again, count 1 is first-degree intentional homicide. The state requires that the judge issues a sentence of life in prison. The only question, as we heard Jones's defense attorney talk about, is whether or not he would be eligible for extended supervision. And the quote I wrote down here from Judge Havis was, extended supervision is, quote, absolutely inappropriate in this case. In fact, she says, between counts 1 and count 2, count 1 is intentional first-degree homicide. That pertains to Kendall Corder. Count 2 is attempted first-degree intentional homicide. That pertains to Christopher McCray. She says the only difference between those 2 charges is the fact that one of the bullets hit the vest of the officer, which is just a sobering quote from the judge here after what happened. And as she pointed out, the gallery full of Milwaukee police officers, I would imagine officers and deputies from other agencies, including the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office as well. I want to just continue to run through the sentence quick before we're going to go check in with our Abreu Preciado, who, again, is tracking a critical incident. So count 1, life, no extended supervision. Count 2, this is the attempted first-degree homicide, received a 60-year total sentence on that, which is 40 years of initial confinement plus 20 years extended supervision. A lot of this is symbolic for the fact that Jones already does have that first-degree intentional homicide conviction, and the sentence, of course, is life in prison. But this is more so for the family, for the coworkers, for the law enforcement community to see how strongly, how seriously the judge is taking Jones's actions that night. And you heard her say, again, absolutely inappropriate to consider extended supervision. Counts 2, 3, and 4 have extended supervision because the law requires they do under Wisconsin's bifurcated sentencing laws. So count 3, which is the first-degree recklessly endangering safety, was 12 years, 6 months of initial confinement, 5 years extended supervision. Count 4, possession of a short-barreled rifle, which, again, she says she doesn't buy Jones's message that he shared in a letter that his attorney read aloud, that he didn't intend for this to happen, but for he had an illegal gun that he put together and brought to this scene. It's an emotional day there in the Milwaukee County courtroom, where Tremaine Jones, the man convicted in the homicide of Milwaukee police officer Kendall Corder, who also shot Corder's partner, Milwaukee police officer Christopher McCray, again, as I read it here, received the maximum sentence possible on all 4 of his counts. He will spend the rest of his life in prison without the possibility of parole or extended supervision. Now, as I pointed out to you, as we were looking at that double box, the juxtaposition here is not lost on us, right? That is the end of this initial, I say initial, criminal justice process, because Tremaine Jones does have the right to appeal. We have seen that in a lot of cases, and in fact, you almost expect it because that is their legal right, especially when, as we just heard, he will be spending the rest of his life in prison. But again, that process has long played out. And you heard the judge, Michelle Havis, talking about the dangers, and that she wishes that these police officers could wear bulletproof and ballistic-proof vests that cover up turtlenecks up to their neck, that are long sleeves, and just covering everywhere down their body because of the threat that they face when they put on their badge and when they go out into the community. And so it's interesting to hear that. And then at the same time, I'm going to pull up this shot here, we are paying attention to this scene. You see the Milwaukee Police Incident Command Post. This is near Bender and Winfield Avenues. This is a little bit south of 84th Street. in Mill, 84th and Mill, so the city's northwest side. And so this is a little bit northeast.
All right, so that's a whole nother thing. So I'm not gonna worry about that. I thought they're gonna have a press conference, and they still may. There still may be a press conference. We'll keep our eyes here, but we'll stick around for a little bit. In the meantime, I want to read something. All right, just Stephanie sent this. As of May 6th of 2026. All right, May 6th of 2026. Governor is restoring a process to reduce prison sentences that haven't been used in Wisconsin for more than 20 years. Governor recently signed a pair of executive orders reinstating commutations. Commuting a prison sentence means reducing its severity, leading to less years behind bars. It means if people meet certain criteria for release. Evers said that the governor said this builds on his efforts to reform the state's justice system. This is about recognizing that people are capable of change, and that Wisconsinites believe in the power of redemption and forgiveness that can change a person's life. According to data, Tommy Thompson was the last governor to grant a commutation, issuing 7 during his tenure. People who are incarcerated can apply for commutation if they have served at least half of their sentence or at least 20 years of a life sentence. They must also have a record of rehabilitation and good behavior during their time in prison. Anyone convicted of crimes such as SA, hurting a child, exploiting a child, trafficking, it's not eligible. Additionally, anyone convicted of a crime requiring registration as an offender is not eligible either. People who have unresolved criminal charges or outstanding warrants are also not eligible. So governor also signed a separate executive order creating a commutation process specifically for youth offenders sentenced to life in prison. Alexandria, Wisconsin Justice Initiative said this offers the chance to rebuild lives. The point of a commutation is to address people who have been rehabilitated who maybe made some really unfortunate decisions when they were quite young. Now, not everybody agrees with the governor's actions, of course. One senator said people who break the law should serve out the sentence decided for them in court. How much opportunity do we want to give these individuals to go out and repeat that offense? I think it takes away from the whole process of our judicial system. Governor said he issued the executive orders because the state legislature has not shown an effort to reform. And back and forth, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's that one. And then I found this. Hold on a sec. Let's see. Daily briefing. I found this coming out of Milwaukee. This is the daily briefing. This is from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. A surge in people unfit to stand trial strains state resources. All right, so over the last decade, Wisconsin has seen an alarming rise in people who are unable to stand trial due to mental illness or developmental disabilities, causing cases to be delayed and people to languish in jail while they await treatment. Eva Wen performed an analysis of data from the Wisconsin Department of Health Services. From 2013 to 2025, the number of times someone has been deemed not competent to stand trial increased almost threefold. It's a significant problem for the state and for the criminal justice system generally, said Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Mark Sanders, who oversees the mental health treatment court established in 2024. Sanders said he is working with a group of dedicated people in the criminal system and mental health systems to address the backlog. Now, remember when we were covering Carlos Dominguez, when we were checking into California, it was like 33%, 35%, something like that, of inmates suffer some kind of mental, have some sort of mental issue, right? So the prisons basically have become these de facto institutions, mental health institutions. So putting people in jail, it's all well and good, but if they're truly truly have schizophrenic like Carlos Dominguez, he's just it's gonna be terrible. Do we care about that? Some people care about it, some people don't. But that's an argument for legislature or for other people. So Sanders said he is working with a group of dedicated people. Okay, I read that. Okay, and that's it. All right. So California's experiencing it. Wisconsin, Milwaukee is experiencing it. This is a real issue, you guys. I mean, this is a really big problem. I don't know what's going to cause, what's going to solve it. I don't know. I just it's a problem, and I don't know. Hey Tom, how are you? Let's see. What's Tom say here? Shabusiness is definitely mentally ill. Let's see. Kim, good to see you as well. Rehab in prison and help others that are incarcerated. You cannot be free. Yeah, William, nowadays they call it crashing out. Yeah, like it's cool bunch of fools. Yeah. Selena, how are you? You're on your phone? Can't tag, but good to see everybody. Awesome. Kim also says, I fear for the victim of violence and to have to worry about their aggressors being out. Stephanie, thank you for sending that article. So cop offers are eligible. If you take out a cop. Yeah. That might be where the line should be drawn too. They should draw that line there as well. If you're going to delete a law enforcement who's dedicated their life to protecting and serving, and if you need that officer, you're going to be calling them. There should be that line. Yeah, I agree. That should be a line. They should draw that line as well. All right, let's see what else. Hey, Tom. Yep, good to see you. Life should mean life. Yeah, well, that's what we have here in Florida. Selena, having mental illness yourself, I think it needs to be more of a priority in our country. I think I was going to say I think it used to be, but I don't think it really ever has. But I know a lot of institutions have been shut down, I think just for lack of funding. Right? I really don't know the whole situation, the whole story, but I kind of think that's kind of where we're at. I'm waiting for a press conference. I'll give it another 5-10 minutes. They're just talking about this other situation. There's this thing going on. What's this about? Officer involved shooting, at least one passed away. Jeez. Well, what the heck? Let's watch this. What's this about?
Down there is Bender. So our 84th and Bender is as close as I'm going to be able to show you. But farther down is where that critical incident took place, where the red tape is down the sidewalk here.
Okay. So, yeah, you're looking south on 84th toward Bender from Mill, basically. And then, again, piecing together for the viewers here on Fox Local, Abril Preciado and her photojournalists were farther south, I think, on Bender, looking toward 84th. So, again, that red tape appears to almost be right at, or no, this is Bender right here.
Sam, I'm being called by our photojournalist. I think he's trying to get the drone up in the air. So I'm gonna backpedal here. I'm gonna walk backwards to keep the scene active for you guys. But I do need to go help our photojournalist. I'm a visual observer, which means when we fly the drone, I'm the second set of eyes that's monitoring for trees and birds and power line and any other hazards that could be, come to interrupt the drone. So we want to be very safe when we're operating the drone. That's why I'm going to help our photojournalist right now is getting ready to put that drone in the sky and hopefully give you guys a better vantage of what's going on down the block here.
Yeah, Jason, go ahead and focus on that. I'm going to take the other photojournalist shot right now so you can, again, focus on the drone flying and we'll go from there. Thank you so much.
Okay, Sam.
All right, so this is, again, our other location where we're looking right at that incident command post. Again, notice the body language. Whatever has happened here appears to have been done. Abril Preciado even chatting with people in that area who said that it happened sometime in the noon hour. So again, Milwaukee police have been on scene now for quite some time. As I'm gathering here, let's see.
This may be a new trial that we're going to watch in 6 months to a year.
Yet on when Milwaukee police are going to be providing an update.
This could be a trial that we're going to watch next year.
Once that happens, certainly we'll bring it to you either live here on the Wisconsin Live Desk or within one of our newscasts that, of course, you can also watch right here on Fox Local. So if you're just joining us, I want to recap what we are watching right now unfold. Let's get out of that. Okay, so Milwaukee police are calling this a critical incident at this time, but what we have sourced in police sources that are involved and close to this department tell us that police officers shot a person who was barricaded and was threatening to commit suicide by cop. What we're told is that that person had a gun and pointed it toward officers who then shot at this person. There's no indication right now to believe that the officers were hit. We haven't had that information. It doesn't mean that it didn't happen, but right now, no information we have gathered would indicate that an officer was hit. The focus of this investigation is right around 84th and Benders. You just heard that is south of Mill, north of Florist, on the city's northwest side. As I'm looking here, looks like we're trying to get our drone up in the area. But I'm going to pull up our shot again one more time so we can listen in here.
All right, so a civilian was taken down, so there might not be a trial. We'll have to see, especially if it was barricaded.
Yeah, again, so it's fairly quiet in this area, and they are listening to me over the headphones, so I'm going to take that back down. Just keeping an eye on what sources we have. Okay, so again, we're trying to put a drone up in the area, and when that happens, we will bring it to you live if we can. But once again, so right now, what's happening inside that incident command post is that Milwaukee police are trying to really kind of break down as best they can, piece by piece, second by second, what happened. And as they do that, they are reviewing everything. The information that's been gathered by witnesses, the information that they will be able to see and actually watch themselves from officers' body cameras, anything that they can get their eyes on, they will take. And so this is a meticulous process that is going to take some time. Again, we don't know exactly when this press briefing will happen. When it does, we will bring it to you. And part of the reason we don't know is because police are still gathering the facts here, gathering any kind of evidence that they can to provide that briefing to us. I'm going to just check my email one more time to see if we have any indication from them yet. It does not appear that we do. And again, I mentioned earlier, this is rather close to Timmerman Airport, and so as we get that drone in the air, it won't be as high as we typically can. That is because of FAA regulations, so that's just something that we're paying attention to. But
all right, so it doesn't sound like this will be a trial. I was kind of thinking, ooh, this might be a potential trial for us later this year or next year. But so it sounds like the guy was, I think it was a guy, somebody was barricaded and then was taken out. All right, you guys, I guess that's about it. I'm just kind of, yeah, it was a male. Just looking at another thing. They shoot the male. I'm hoping for a press conference on Tremaine Jones's sentencing and not seeing anything, so.
Leave the scene at some point before they will kind of download their brains into what happened and just kind of unpack the situation that they found themselves in. So there are a lot of things happening all at once that we're paying attention to. All right. So we've been with the Tremaine Jones sentencing for quite some time. We're going to step aside for a quick break. We're going to reset, and we'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes right here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
So it looks like the neighborhood didn't look that bad, Stephanie. I mean, didn't look like it was that terrible of a neighborhood. I mean, the houses looked decent. The lawns were nicely manicured, if you will. I mean, it didn't look like it was that bad of a neighborhood in the sense that people looked like people cared about it. So, yeah, William, that was in Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Sorry, yep, that was in Milwaukee. Pull you down here. Yeah, it's in Milwaukee. Northwest Milwaukee. Northwest Milwaukee. So I'm going to stick around just for a little bit longer. It's only 4:30, 4:25 here. We'll just stick around just for a little bit. Oh, is it? It's all four family rentals. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, sometimes you see like lawns not being taken care of, windows with bars on them. I mean, were there any bars on the windows here? Let me see. Can I rewind? Yeah, I mean, there's no bars on the windows. I mean, I lived in places that have bars on the windows. Yeah, I mean, the lawns look pretty decent. No? I mean, yeah, whatever. I guess you can never tell, right? Yeah, all right. And here I thought that was going to be like a motorcade for Tremaine Jones. Tom lives in Kenosha. Cool. All right, Amby, have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate that. We may stream on Sunday. I think we're going to stream on Sunday, so keep your eyes out for us streaming on Sunday. I think we're going to do a stream on Sunday to make up for this morning and everything. Richard in the kitchen, have a good evening as well. Take care. Enjoy your rest of your day.
Live Desk. It is almost 3:30 on this Friday, June 12th. What has been an incredibly busy week continues to be a busy week, but for different reasons. If you're just joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, this is a live look at a police scene which we have gathered to be a fatal shooting scene at 84th and Bender, that is just south of Mill Road, north of Florist Avenue, so on the city's northwest side, just north and east of Timmerman Airport, where police sources have confirmed to Fox 6 that they were called to this situation where they found a person who had barricaded themselves inside somewhere and was threatening to commit suicide by cop. We were told that that person had a gun, pointed it toward the responding officers, who then shot at this person. The Milwaukee County Medical Examiner's Office confirms to Fox 6 that they are responding for at least one person who has died. We don't know, we haven't not confirmed necessarily who that person is. We have not heard or received.
So self-deletion by wanting to go out by getting, taken out by cops. So there you go.
Were hit or injured as part of this.
All right, Kim, you as well. Have a great weekend.
The language that Milwaukee police are using at this hour is a critical incident. As we went through earlier, if you've read any of Milwaukee police procedures and policies, they define critical incident as any time Milwaukee police use force on a member of the public. That force can range, as we know, from a baton to a stun gun or taser.
That's
or all
funny.
the way up to their service.
No neighbors are out. I see somebody in the top window there. If you look straight by the cab of that truck or whatever and look up, I think that's somebody in the. I think that might be somebody in the maybe wearing a white shirt. You see that? Yeah, that's funny. All right, Elaine, have a great one. Yes, I'm pretty sure we're going to stream on Sunday. I think we're going to stream on Sunday, probably like around 1 or 2. We'll stream around 1 or 2 on Sunday. Linda, yes, I did. I got a Nissan Maxima, 2017 Nissan Maxima. Really happy with it. Oh, okay. Here we go. This is a drone.
Is up in the sky right now, flying drone over this scene to give us a bit of a better vantage point. Now, again, I mentioned that because we are so close to Timmerman Airport, we can't typically.
Hey, well, I was saying, being from the New Jersey, the bad neighborhoods, they have an architectural look. I went to work in Miami for a month or so and thought, wow, this is nice. The Floridian said, don't you ever go to that spot again. Yeah. Well, AWOL, I know you've been into the city. You know, there's many blocks in New York City where you walk in and the block is fine, and then literally halfway down the block it changes, and you're like, oh man, what did I get myself into? That happens too. That happens too. You know, within a city block or two, you can be like walking in a really nice neighborhood, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, what did I just do? So yeah, I mean, I guess looks can be deceiving, right? I guess looks can be deceiving. Thank you, Linda. You came to find out you were driving through the pork and beans projects that featured on the first 48 hours. Yikes. Right? There's no audio. I'm really just kind of waiting. It's just really weird. I'm actually waiting for a press conference for Tremaine Jones's sentencing. That's over, but this is really like interesting because he just got sentenced, but then officers took out somebody, so it's kind of a reverse thing. Thankfully, it's not another officer shot. Ugh, can you imagine? Tremaine Jones gets sentenced, and then literally like the same day, another officer is shot. But that didn't happen. Let's see here. Yeah, facts. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Yeah, and you know what? That was the same thing down in Palm Beach. I remember there was this fantastic Ethiopian restaurant that we used to go to, Aaron and I would we would go there, you know, and eat, or I would go and I'd pick up food. And the neighborhood was a little sketchy. It wasn't bad, you know. It was, you know, just keep your eyes open. But I would always go at like 12:30 during the day, and but literally driving back. Getting out of that neighborhood, it was like within 2 blocks, don't stop because there's people on every street corner and they just come up to you and they want to sell you. They want to sell you stuff. And if they don't like your look, some good things will not happen to you. So, and that was just driving from one street to the next, and that's in West Palm. West Palm. So it's crazy. It's crazy how just neighborhoods can change. All right, I'm going to hang out just a little bit longer, see if they're going to do a press conference. I would think by now they'd have one. If they don't have a press conference after this, then I'll let you guys go. But at least the weather is nice. I know yesterday was really bad for a lot of people in Wisconsin, so at least the weather is decent. Barry says it's called Marketplace. Just Stephanie, the best ribs are at the Speed Queen on 12th and Walnut. I won't even go in the daytime anymore. Ugh. Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. So there's Lambeau. I'm thinking, right? Because that's Green Bay. That's Green Bay's sign or insignia. Linda, so happy for you. Nissans are nice cars. Thank you. Yeah, I've been a VW owner for a long time, so a Nissan is a change for me. But I got it from the VW dealership, and I'm sure I'll probably trade it in a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years, and then although I do like not having a car payment. I did like not having a car payment. That's gone. Tom says your power went out 3 days in a row. Wow. And you said, where are you from? Kenosha, right? Did you say that's in Kenosha? Skrubnik, that happened. Yeah, that used to happen in New York all the time. You'd stop, and you'd get pounced on by the window washers. Giuliani actually cleaned that up. All right, let's see what.
A confirmed officer-involved shooting. It happened at 84th and Lynx. Right now, this is a look at the media staging just a few blocks away. I'm going to actually take you right now to an interview that it looks like our Abril Preciado is doing, just to hear what some witnesses have said or people who are in the neighborhood.
But now you guys want to know what happened, right?
Right, what happened? What caused this? I mean, we know, he passed, but what happened? What did he do to cause this? For so much heavy police to, be at his doors, what did he do?
Exactly, and then we also have a lot of folks that live there that are trying to get in there, and they can't.
Yeah, and they can't get in. Yeah, because we saw kids getting off the bus. They was telling the kids they can't even go home. And these kids just got off the bus from school, so they don't even know what happened or what's going on, and they can't even get in their homes. So, yeah.
Some guy came, and he was like broken down because his kids was in the house, and he went somewhere for a little bit.
Yeah,
probably the store.
He walked to the gas station, and he came back, and he was screaming. Yeah, so he was like, I got to get my kids. My kids are there. So, yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you so much once again. You guys will definitely see this on the
All right, again, hearing from bystanders on the scene there, just kind of catching the tail end of that interview. Abril Preciado is going to be joining us in a moment with that report. Again, here's another live look at the media staging here. We are expected to hear from Milwaukee police with an update. Again, the medical examiner was called to that scene at 84th and Lynx, confirming that at least one person is dead. What we do know is that Milwaukee police were calling this a critical incident here, as you can see. And yeah, we are waiting for that media staging at West Bender and Winfield. That's where our crews are right now on scene. Let's also take a look at some drone video here that we're just getting up, just showing the scene around here. Again, at least one person dead, confirmed by the medical examiner that they were called to the scene. Again, as our Sam Kramer was explaining, when Milwaukee police call this a critical incident, it means they did use force on a member of the public. Again, what we do know is that, according to our sources, a person was barricaded and threatening suicide. All reports so far say that all of the officers on scene were okay and are okay. The status of the suspect is unknown at this time, but again, we do know that the ME was called to the scene. We are waiting to hear an update from Milwaukee police. Our Abril Preciado, Jason Calvi, we've got multiple crews on the scene right now, hoping to bring them back to talk with us and see what we've learned, as we just caught the tail end of an interview that Abril did with, it looks like, bystanders in this neighborhood. Again, happened at 84th and Lynx. Media staging is at West Bender and Winfield. We have a drone up here right now, which is what you're looking at. This is all live, all happening right now. We did extend our coverage on the Wisconsin Live Desk here to 4 o'clock to bring you the very latest. Again, we are waiting to hear an update from Milwaukee police to see if we can get any more information. But again, we do know this is an officer-involved shooting. At least one person is dead. The medical examiner was called to the scene. As we kind of take a look down the road of this neighborhood, you can see cop cars on your right side, squad cars pretty much all the way down the block, stretching multiple blocks. Some roadways are blocked off there. Again, you can see crime scene tape just blocking off a really long road there. Looks like we're getting a little bit closer of a look here at very active scene. We're going to continue following this here and hoping to get either Abril or Jason to join us. But right now we're going to take a quick break. But again, we are following this officer-involved shooting at 84.
All right. Seems like there's not going to be a press conference for the Tremaine Jones sentencing, so I will call it a day and let you guys go. So I think we're going to stream on Sunday. I'm pretty sure we're going to do a stream on Sunday, and we hope to see you guys then. In the meantime, as always, I will leave you with Super Bowl. Yeah, it's a good girl. Yeah, it's a good girl. Blah, 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 blah. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Kendall Corder, you certainly got some justice today, and we will let you guys go. Christopher McCray, I know you, Officer McCray, you are living with this every day as well. So hopefully this will help you sleep a little bit better. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to our mods. Thank you to Aaron. make sure you guys do something positive for yourself. Take care of your health, take care of your mental health, your spiritual health, your physical health, all that good stuff. So if we don't see you on Sunday, we're going to pick back up on the Alaskan trial on Monday. So we'll see you then. And if not, have a great one, and we'll see you down the road. Take care. Bye.